down east, and also to the RCMP officer that lost his life in the line of duty. So, Madam Chair, Madam Clerk.
O God, let us each in our own way ask your wisdom and guidance in our deliberations. Help us to incorporate into all our decisions those values which will enable us to fulfill our mission, to act as responsible stewards, and to respect and value the cultural and spiritual traditions of all citizens of the City of Prince Albert. For this we pray. Amen.
Thank you. You ready? Okay. Before I ask for approval of the agenda, is there any changes to the agenda, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Dion, Mr. Crawford has requested that his correspondence be removed from the agenda this evening.
Thank you. There's no more changes?
No.
Okay. May I get someone to move the agenda as amended? Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll go ahead and move that the agenda for this meeting be approved as presented, as amended, sorry, and that the presentations, delegations, and speakers listed on the agenda be heard when called forward by the mayor.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Gilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, I'll prompt the vote. Vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, closing it. Accepting it, carries. Declaration of conflict of interest, you all know what that is. If you have to declare it, let the clerk know. 5, adoption of the minutes. Councillor Miller.
Thanks, Mayor Dion. That the minutes of the council meeting held May 25th, 2021 be taken, read, and adopted.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Head.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the vote. Vote is now open. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Thank you. Now closed, it passes. Accept the vote. Number 6, notice of proclamations. 6.1, longest day of smiles, June 20th, 2021. 6.2, National Indigenous Day, June 21st, 2021. World Derma Awareness Day, sorry if I made that wrong, June 29th, 2021. 6.4, Recreation and Parks Month, June 2021. Those were my proclamations. Presentations, we have none. Public hearings, we have none. With delegations, we have none. Communications, we have none. So I'll go into number 11, Reports of administration and committee. 11.1, development permit. No, did we want to hear from the director? He's on team, so. Just so he can explain what this is? Go ahead, Director, if you could just explain what this is, please.
Certainly, thank you, Mayor Gillen, for the opportunity, and members of council. This is a development permit for a business complex. It is a discretionary use as per the City of Prince Edward zoning bylaw. I believe there's a site plan attached to this report, which gives you an idea of how the site will maneuver. You will notice that the site already does have a gas station and an existing building, and the business complex is kind of to the on the rear of the site to be accessed off of 34th Street West. There's two entrances off of 34th, which will direct traffic on site. I see that there was some correspondence in regards to access to some of the residential neighborhoods to the west of this site, and what I can say is that certainly we will speak to the developer to provide some signage, directing people onto this site and not off to residential areas. This is an urban reserve, so you'll notice that the recommendation is to support the project rather than approve. But again, it does meet all of the requirements of our zoning bylaw. So with that, I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Any questions or motion? Councillor Head?
Thank you. I do have I'll make the motion. I do have a comment as well, but I'll go ahead and motion that the development permit application for a business complex to be located at 3451B 2nd Avenue West be supported subject to 1, the applicant submitting first plans for review and approval by administration.
That's it? Oh, that's
I'll
it?
have a comment as well, if I get a
Just-
seconder.
Yeah, as soon as I get you a seconder. Councillor Miller?
Yes, I'll second it, Mayor Dion.
Okay. Councillor Head, you have a comment? Go ahead.
I do. Again, I'm happy to hear that we're supporting this initiative and additions to that property. I mean, it's definitely a value to our community. And I do see some correspondence here today from residents in that area, based on some of the asks that we put out for some feedback. So we did get some, and I would hope that, as the director had mentioned, maybe just a sign is needed at this point. So happy to support that, and definitely looking forward to seeing this building come to fruition.
Thank you. And actually, I was just on the site today. The director forgot to mention that beside this office complex today, I cut the ribbon with Chief Bird to their new car wash. So anyone that wants, it's very unique. It's called a tunnel. It actually pulls you through. It's quite an experience and something new that's our community. It's totally different than all the other car washes we have. And then this office tower will be next door to it. And then that site will be full. There'll be no further development on that site. Councillor Zierakowski.
Thank you, Worship. The only other comments I'd like to make, and I think it's wonderful to see development going on in the city, of course, that some consideration be made to people driving down 34th. They don't need to enter the residential neighborhood, that there is, dead end sort of a thing. It's been talked about in the past, and maybe we can move forward on that now. The other thing I ask is for administration to give some consideration to the design of the office. You called it an office tower, or the office building, I'm not sure. Yep. So that traditionally that has been a very active pedestrian corridor, and that some consideration be given for the design of the building so that the residents who live nearby don't have to police it after the hours or the closing hours when that commercial business is closed at 5 or 6, whatever the case may be.
Thank you. Okay, any other ferment comments? Hearing none, I'll prompt the vote. Okay, the vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Passes. So I accept the vote. 11.2, 2021 Dust Suppression Program. Councillor Head?
So I just have a question for the director, I guess, more so than making
I have to
this-
get a motion first.
Yeah, okay, I'll hold off then, thank you,
Okay.
Your Worship.
Go ahead, Councilor Miller.
That bylaw number 10 of 2021 be introduced and given 3 readings.
Yeah? Go ahead, try it again, sorry.
That bylaw number 10 of 2021 be introduced and given 3 readings, and that the Public Works Department use a combination of suitable products or optional would address the dust problem and still provide stabilization driving surface for its dust suppression program.
Thank you.
That's it, right?
Councilor Kilmer,
I'll second that.
thank you. Okay, discussion, Councilor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple comments, I guess, on this one. I'm a little bit shocked to see that there's a bylaw on this because I'm assuming that we've been doing this somewhat dust control for a decade or more now. So we never had a bylaw before. I'm thinking, why need one now?
No, we've always done it by bylaw.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I guess another question or comment, I suppose, is more for the director. I know these roads come at a cost, and I know paving them is a huge cost on for, you know, all of the city. But I know when I was door knocking, residents were asking about some of our paved roads or unpaved roads in this case, and I would hope one of the things that this report doesn't have is the cost of those roads. There's a list of all the roads that qualify for this dust program, or sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, the anti-dust program, I guess. Dust suppression program, sorry. But is there any cost items to this for the information for the residents about what a street costs to pave once they are requiring curbs and asphalt? Other, you know, because we see the cost of this program here. What's the cost of paving the program? Thank you.
Okay, I'll have the director forward your report. We did get the report previously about repaving all our streets. Thank you. Any other comments? Councilor Kilmer.
I noticed that we notify the residents through the Daily Herald, and I'm wondering if there's a better way of communicating how this bylaw works and how getting streets paved could work. Perhaps using the water bill or at sometime in January, letting people know, you know, that this is upcoming. So it's just an idea or a thought that communication, the more that people know, rather than in a short space of time.
Thank you. Councilor Edwards.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I'm wondering if we can add a road here to this program, and that would be Marquis Road Extension behind Coombe Drive that the residents get. It's not even a road, it's where all our gravel trucks go down, and we do a little watering periodically, but the residents' decks are covered in dust all the time. It's right behind Coombe Drive, and it's ridiculous the amount of dust that they get. They've been talking about this for a lot of years. I actually thought we were going to move sites. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened, so I'm hoping maybe we can get it oiled or something, not just water, because it goes away quickly. That's my comments for today. Thank you.
Okay, I'll have the director comment. I did drive that site. I did notice that they put paving chips down now that were milling off the road, and with the understanding that there's going to be no dust coming off those millings. But I'll just confirm that if you could bring the director up to answer his question. Director, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the question. We have been regularly controlling the dust there. And we have, as the mayor has pointed out, we have put down the milling chips, and we've also put down the canola oil. And unfortunately, that is the route to all of our pits for clay and topsoil, because we own a lot of land out there for the city of Prince Albert, and we'll be using it for many years to come. The long-term goal would be to complete the extension of Marquis Road East to wrap around the city on the east side. That would be something that, if council was in favor of, we could put it in the capital budget planning for the future years.
Thank you. Councilor Edwards?
Thanks for the response, Director. Is this the exact way we've been treating it in the past with the millings and the oil, or is this new?
No, it's brand new. Before it was just the dirt. Go ahead, Director.
Actually, the millings have been there for some time. We didn't just put them down this year. They've been there for I think 2 years. And same with the canola oil. We've been pouring the canola oil on top of that millings to hold them together. So we've been doing that for a while now.
Okay, doesn't work. Continuously get complaints. So hopefully we can find a solution that it doesn't beat up the neighbor's deck. We have 4 months of summer, and we punish these people driving back and forth on this road all summer long. Speeding, doesn't matter, the dust is there. I've seen thick dust on all their decks. It's ridiculous. So hopefully we can find a solution to it, because this isn't working.
Thank you. Okay, I'll prompt the question. Voting is open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Accepted. It's closed. We'll move on to the next item, which is...
Mayor Dion, we now have bylaw
yeah.
number 10 of 2021 to establish the 2021 charge for placing and maintaining a dustless surface on partially dustless surface in streets and lanes. Bylaws for 3 readings tonight.
Thank you. So we're voting on first reading. Oh, sorry, yes. Oh, Councillor Miller? I got her on the voting one. So I have to recall it? Yeah. Councillor Miller, can you come over here, please?
No, you're okay. Just breathe deeply. That bylaw number 10 of 2021 be introduced and read a first time.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Gilmore. Okay, now I'll prompt the vote. Okay, the vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Accept. Okay, now for second reading, Councillor Miller.
That bylaw number 10 of 2021 be read a second time.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor
second
Gilmer. Thank you. Okay, I'll prompt the vote. Vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. It's now closed, now accepted. Now I request leave. Councillor Miller?
That leave be granted for bylaw number 10 of 2021 a third time.
Thank you. Councillor Gilmore?
I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the vote for leave. So I need it 100%, so if you could all remember to vote. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Leave is granted, so I'll accept the vote. Councillor Miller?
That bylaw number 10 of 2021 be read a third time and passed, and that bylaw number 10 of 2021 be now adopted, sealed, signed by the mayor and city clerk.
Thank you. Councillor Gilmore?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, I'll prompt the vote. Vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Vote's accepted and carries. Thank you. So I'll move on to 11.3, 2021 Landfill Environmental Services. Councillor Gilmer.
I really appreciate the clarity of this report, so I'm pleased to move that the professional services agreement for the Prince Albert Landfill 2021 environmental services be awarded to Tetra Tech Canada Incorporated for an estimated cost of $50,989.42 plus $2,549.47 in GST and $3,059.37 in PST, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement and any other applicable documents on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Edwards.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I don't.
Any questions? Seeing none, I'll prompt the vote. Voting is now open. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
You. Voting is now closed. Motion passes. 11.4, Lakeland Ford Park Sponsorship Agreement. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Worship. Also move that Lakeland Ford Park sponsorship agreement between the city and Unified Parts Group, NAPA, in the amount of $3,000 per year for 3 years from January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024 be approved. And 2, that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Councillor Brodnick.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll prompt the vote. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. $11.5, Beverage Supply and Service City Concessions. Councillor Brodnick.
Oh, thank you. I'll move, Mr. Mayor, that RFP number 49 of 2021 for the supply and services of beverage products and equipment at the city concessions be awarded to Prince Albert Beverages for a 3-year term from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2024, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Councillor Head.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Councillor Zurkowski.
Thank you. So my question is to process, if I may. So once this gets awarded, what's the next step? At what point do we have a conversation, or does the administration have a conversation about, let's put together some family-friendly packages as we head into the fall season? What does that mean? How does that happen? Once this gets awarded, is it within that pricing? Is that something administration can craft after this gets awarded? Because we've talked about this before, and we've heard from our residents that going to a game is often cost prohibitive for that entertainment and for the price at the canteens. And to have a lost leader like throw in a soft drink or a bag of popcorn, let's have that conversation. So my question is this, in terms of process, when does that conversation take place once this gets awarded?
Okay, we'll ask the director, Bolay, to come online. And it is a related question. It was good. No, I'm going to allow it. Oh, just a minute. Did I get a seconder? Yeah. Okay, yep. Go ahead, director.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. So just further to the question regarding ways of packaging up the service. So while this is more specifically related to beverages, I think the intent is more generally the overall product that we provide out of the city concessions. This is something that we did just implement briefly prior to COVID. I think it was something that was well received. We were able to provide different combos and family-friendly combinations of product that was more cost efficient for families. We are looking to return to that hopefully this fall when we reopen our facilities to a more normal operation. So that process is already underway, and we're looking forward to re-implementing it here in the very near future.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards?
Yes, thank you, Hunt. I agree with my colleague there. And I did see at the Art Hauser the combination, but I just want to clarify with the director that that's other facilities as well that we're offering those combinations.
Okay, Director? Did you hear the question?
Yes, sorry, I was just cut out there briefly. So certainly, we would be looking at all of our facilities. You're right, Councillor Edwards, we did start it initially at the Art Hauser Centre. That certainly provides for the bulk of our volume compared to some of the other locations, but there's value at creating these opportunities at all the locations in which we operate the concession. So I actually just met this morning with our concession manager, and that was on our agenda. So as we prepare for the fall and getting more regular usage of our facilities returning, this is something that we would like to see back in action.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more? I see no more questions, so I'll prompt the vote. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. It carries. We'll move to 11.16, 2021 base tax abatement on unserviced land. Councillor Cody.
Yeah, I think I agree with this, so I shall move that the snow management base tax and infrastructure and roadways base tax portions of the 2021 taxes on the properties for a total of $5,818 be abated due to being unserviced and or unserviceable and vacant property, and that the snow management base tax and infrastructure and roadways base tax portions of the 2021 taxes on the airport parking properties for a total of $1,250 be abated due to being unserviced and with development limited to temporary structures.
Thank you. A seconder. Councillor Kilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? I see none. I'll prompt the vote. The vote's now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion's carried. I'll accept the vote. Move it on. 11.7, request for tax relief 2021. What's your wish, Council? Councillor Cody.
Well, I certainly agree, and so I shall move that the tax abatement in the amount of $2,700 for 100% of the portion of the 2021 taxes attributable to the Prince Albert Roman Catholic School Division for the Catholic Family Services of Prince Albert property located at 1008 First Avenue West be approved, and that tax abatement of $1,929.88 for the Masonic Lodge for the property located at 292 15th Avenue East be approved, and that the tax abatement of $8,419.19 for the Prince Albert SPCA for the property located at 1125 North Industrial Drive be approved.
Thank you. Councillor Miller.
Yes, I will second it. Thank you, Mayor Dion.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Kara Lennox up here.
Go ahead.
I had a question for administration regarding sub 1, and that's regarding the Catholic schools portion. Can administration advise on sub 1, are we proposing that the city would pay the amount that is owing to the Catholic school system?
No. No, but I'll have the director come on.
Thank you.
Go ahead, director.
Okay, it's just the school portion. So the school, the city would not be paying for the school portion. It's just a school portion that's not going to be paid to anybody.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Councillor Zepp?
Well, I just wanted to clarify. So the amount in sub 1, that is, can you describe what is that amount? Like, not the number, but what does it mean? What is it from?
You're talking about the $2,700?
Correct.
Yes, that represents the Catholic school division's property tax portion for the school. So it's just the school portion of it for the Catholic school division.
And the city would be paying for that?
No, the city would not be paying for it at all. So they just wouldn't get, the Catholic school division wouldn't get this portion of the school taxes, is all it means. Yeah.
And the city is also abating some property taxes for that building as well?
No, just the $2,700 for the school portions for the Catholic school division.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll prompt the question. Okay, the vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
No.
Okay. Thank you. The vote carries. I move to 11.8, chart of accounts restructure. Councillor Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that an agreement between the city and Central Square to provide consulting services at a cost of $70,000 plus taxes for the chart of accounts restructuring, modeling, mapping, conversion, testing, and integration services be approved and funded from the fiscal stabilization. And that an agreement to provide consulting services at a cost of $7,900 plus taxes for database archiving be approved and funded from fiscal stabilization, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreements and any other necessary documents on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. And seconder. Councillor Cody.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to prompt the question. The question is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you. 11.9, 2021 care home abatements. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that the municipal property tax abatement for the 16 personal care homes in the amount of $12,288.42 be approved, and that the education property tax abatement portion for the 16 personal care homes be based on approval from the Saskatchewan Ministry of Government Relations if required, and that the Prince Albert Catholic Separate School Division.
Thank you. Before I go to you, Councillor Head, on this motion, Madam Clerk, should it not be the Ministry of Education? They're the ones that waive taxes for the school boards instead of the Catholic School Board. It says governor, okay. Okay, Councillor Head,
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll second this motion.
thank you. Discussion?
Tara Lennox,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tara.
thank you. I just wanted to make the comment that my understanding from reading the report is that the provincial government previously had been taxing these commercial entities, the commercial personal care homes, at 100% of their assessed value, and that the provincial government has now, for this year, has reduced that down to taxing at 85% of assessed value for commercial entities. And so I note that there has already been a reduction in the level of taxation for these commercial entities. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a question. Are these all nonprofits? Or none of them are? Do we know that question, Director?
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, they are all actually commercial businesses. They're not nonprofits, so they are commercial businesses.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Head?
Thank you. I just want to point out in the report, these properties were included in the 2021 budget amount for abatements based on the previous year's approved amount. So we had this conversation already, and I think it's just making it formalized today. So I'm willing to support that motion based on those conversations we had earlier.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Recorded vote? Okay. I have to bring.
Mayor Dion, on a recorded vote for item 11.9, 2021 care home abatement. Councillor Grodnick,
Yes.
Councillor Edwards,
Go. Can everyone shut their lights off till, thank you. To your turn, Councillor Edwards.
Yes.
Councillor Kilmer,
Yes?
Councillor Zurikowski,
Yes.
Mayor Dion,
Yes.
Councillor Miller,
No.
Councillor Lennox Zapp,
No.
Councillor Head,
Yes.
Councillor Cody,
Yes.
motion is carried.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Okay, I'm going to move to 11.10, 2020 MEAT Audited Engagement Letter. Yeah. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I read the report, and I'm definitely going to have to, I think it's part of our business, our due diligence, to provide this audit statement to the government. So I will move that the engagement letter between the city and MMP to provide an auditor's opinion of the municipal interim expenditure report for MEAP as of December 31st, 2020 be approved, that the estimated cost of $1,780 for the audit be funded from the fiscal stabilization, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the engagement letter on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Kilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Councillor Cody.
Yeah, I have no trouble giving $1,780 to the auditors, but that's what you call a Johnny-come-lately. They know right well when our budgeting is on. And something, they come along later on, after our budget is approved, and ask us then to approve something. It's wrong. They wouldn't do it, and why would we do it? Secondly, it's another way of downloading on us. The government gives you the MEEP program, which is a great program, and I appreciate it, and I applaud them for it. But then they take away $1,780 from us. Just wrong, just wrong. It's just exactly like the PST. They give you a grant and take 6% of it back. Just doesn't make any sense. One government should not be taxing another. That should be against the law in all of Canada. We can't tax the provincial or federal government. They shouldn't be able to tax us, who are creatures of theirs. They should not be able to do it, and that's why I'm so opposed to these kinds of things. Not that I wouldn't vote for it, because of the fact that we have to pay it, or else they likely would say, well, you weren't in compliance. But at the same time, it's a wrong concept.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll prompt the vote. Uh-oh, hang on. Prompt the vote again. I went to the wrong one. Okay. Vote is now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. 11.11, digital sign application 3130 2nd Avenue West. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I know we had a couple of these applications already now, so I'm going to go ahead and move this, that the permanent sign application for a digital sign to be located at 3130 2nd Avenue West be approved. And I'll make a comment after.
Thank you. Seconder.
Second, Mayor Dion, and I also have a comment.
Thank you.
Today, I rise in support of this. It's because it's on the actual building.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Zarakowski? You're done. Councillor Head, did you have a comment?
No, that's fine.
You got it? Okay, with none of that, I'm going to prompt the question then. No, I got it. The question's now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, motion carries. $11.12, using safety reserve to pay for unbudgeted costs resulting in O and H and S legislation changes. Ditto, yeah. Ditto, Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship, again. I would move that the administration be authorized to utilize approximately $15,000 of the safety reserve to pay for the unbudgeted occupational health and safety expenses resulting from Saskatchewan Occupational Health and Safety, making amendments to the Occupational Health and Safety Regulations, 1996. Did it?
Thank you. Seconder? What's your wish, Council?
Kara Lennox up, I would second.
Thank you. Okay, no discussion, so I'll prompt the vote. Okay, then does someone want to let up their light? Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I wonder if the mover would be willing to change it from approximate to utilize approximately to change it to utilize no more than $15,000.
Councillor Ed.
Thank you, Your Worship. I worry that there's going to create some limitations, and I would expect that the administration is going to, utilize in and around that amount, and hopefully not go over it, of course, but I worry that it's going to restrict us too much, so I'll keep it as is. Sorry, Councillor Kilmer.
Councillor Edwards.
Thank you. I believe a colleague of mine here discussed the possibility of looking, well, I think we were asking administration to look into if we could wait a year to officially comply to the $15,000. There's a year that you have to comply with the regulations. Now, I don't know whether we found that out. If so, then we could spend that $15,000 next year.
And we can put it in our budget.
And we'd put it in our budget. So I wonder if we found that answer out.
Okay, Director of Public Works.
I'll stay standing.
Hang on, City Clerk wandered away. Oh, it's Ken's? Sorry, Ken, it's yours.
No problem. Thank you very much for the question. We did look into it. There was no implementation of 12 months provided. The only date that was provided was the date of adoption for us. Now, historically, the ministry does start with less linear and more educational sanctions. However, that is always dependent on the individual who is monitoring our compliance.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Edwards, you done? Councillor Cody?
Yeah, just a quick question to Ken. I know the legislation is passed, but are the regulations brought in? Or do you know if they have been? Not all the time do they proclaim the legislation is passed, but they don't always proclaim the regulations. Just wondering if they're passed.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Effective April 1st.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll prompt the vote. Vote's now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. I accept the vote. Okay, 11.13, amendment to the agreement of purchase and sale, Signature Development Corporation. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the amendment to the agreement of agreement of purchase and sale with Signature Development Corporation and any other necessary documents to implement the addendum agreement on behalf of the city in order to confirm and assemble the specific 25 acres of land for the aquatic and arenas recreation center in follow-up to City Council's planning sessions with its consultants, City Council Resolution number 264 dated June 29th, 2020, and City Council Resolution 205 dated May 10th, 2021.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Cody.
Second it, please.
Thank you. Discussion? Councillor
Chair,
Kilmer.
I'll let it accept.
Go ahead.
So this addendum agreement involves a change of the specific location. Involves a change of the specific location on the parcel of land. And so I do have to mention that I have a concern about that. Firstly, if we take a look at the Community Services Master Plan, page 40, it provides and is titled Using Site Selection Criteria when deciding on a location for major infrastructure. And the Community Services Master Plan provides us as a city with a list of criteria of what we would look for to make a determination on a site location. And none of that has occurred yet with City Council. We do not have any comparables between the southeast portion and the northeast portion of land. And this report does not provide us with any rationale as to why we as a city would prefer this proposal. To me, it is very concerning and alarming that we as a city would simply make this change without any comparables, without doing our homework, and without making a decision that is in the best interest of the city as to what location the aquatics and arenas recreational center should be placed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm prompting the vote.
I am asking for a recorded vote for the minutes, please.
Okay. And just to give everyone's a heads up, I am serving notice that we changed the procedure bylaw because we record every vote and it's public. So I just think we're duplicating ourselves, but it's still in there. So I'll ask the city clerk to give us a recorded vote.
Mayor Dion, for a recorded vote in regards to item 1113, addendum to agreement for purchase and sale signature developments, Councillor Edwards.
Yes.
Councillor Kilmer.
Yes?
Councillor Zirakowski.
Yes.
Mayor Dion.
Yes.
Councillor Miller.
No.
Councillor Lennox Zapp.
No.
Councillor Head.
No.
Councillor Cody.
Yes.
Councillor Grodnick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. 11.14, Recreation Project Award Fundraising Campaign Consultant. City Clerk, you have your vote, your light on. No problem. What's your wish, Council? Councillor Cody?
Yes, I agree with this project, and I will move that the Phase 1 feasibility study proposal for fundraising sponsorship, research strategy, and communication services be awarded to DCG Philanthropic.
Services.
Yeah, good enough. Philanthropic services at an estimated cost of $43,230 plus applicable taxes to be funded from the Civics Facilities Reserve. And number 2, that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement and any other necessary documents on behalf of the city once prepared.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Edwards?
I'll second that, your worship.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll prompt the question.
Sorry, Kara Lennox up here with the question.
Go ahead.
So this $43,000 is for the feasibility study. My question is, what are we expecting as a ongoing fee for the work to be done after the feasibility study? What is the expectation for a fee, for what the fee would be to the city ongoing?
And that will, once we get the feasibility study and see what we can raise, then a report will be coming to council with the next step.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm prompting the question. Question's now open. Councillor Zepp?
No.
Okay, I'm missing one vote. Oh, I got it now. Thank you. Motion carries. I accept it. Passed 8-1. 11.15, Airport Advisory Committee 2021 Work Plan. Councillor Cody?
Yep, I move that the 2021 work plan for the Airport Advisory Committee be approved.
Thank you. Councillor Oh, Councilor Zierakowski?
I will second the motion and thank the committee for their work. It's been a while getting moving, getting it off the ground, and I think the committee has done a wonderful job of listening to the needs of the airport and the community, and I look forward to ticking off some of those work plan items. Question, if I may.
Go ahead.
The first item on that to-do list is the supplying of NAV gas. It's the moving forward. Once we approve this, can you give us some idea of when we can see that accomplished and where that responsibility lies to ensure that happens?
Yeah, it replies with the committee, and the RFP goes to the committee for approval next. 29th. 28th.
Perfect.
And the committee will be pushing that forward because I think that's number one on the list.
It is. Good.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you. Carries. Accepted. Close it. Unfinished business, we have none. We have now mayor's and council's forum. Councillor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple congratulations here.
Good, go ahead.
First, you know, we know her as the commissioner here at City Hall, but veterans know Brenda Cripps as the person who has, for the last 30 years, remembered veterans that have served and have since passed away. And she has been involved in placing Canadian flags for Decoration Sunday for the past 30 years on, you know, approximately 1,200 graves of veterans in the Prince Albert area, and then does that again in November when it's bitterly cold and puts poppies or wreaths, etc., to commemorate these veterans and to thank them. So I want to give a big thank you to Brenda Cripps for all of her work in the past 30 years that she's been doing this, and it's really appreciated by many people. So thank you, Brenda. Another person that needs to be acknowledged is a Prince Albert resident, Braden Schneider, who won a World Cup championship in Latvia, gold medal. He was part of the team, and usually it's NHL players that are bumped out of the playoffs. You know, usually Leafs are very well represented at that. But this year they brought in Braden Schneider, a WHL player, resident of Prince Albert. So I want to give a big congratulations to him on his gold medal. Silver medal at World Juniors and gold medal at World Championships. So congratulations, Braden Schneider. Last but not least, I want to acknowledge one of our colleagues here, Mr. Don Cody. 50 years ago, next week, June 23rd, 1971, Don was first elected to politics. He was elected as an MLA to the provincial legislature. And we saw tonight just a little snippet of how good this man is at giving speeches and just those little digs. I love it. He's a skilled orator, and it really shows with his 50 years. And I can't imagine doing this for 50 years. This is my fifth, and I'm thinking, oh my God, how did you do this, Mr. Cody? So I just want us to congratulate one of our colleagues for a long service to the residents of this province and of this community. So thank you, Don Cody. That's it for today, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else under mayor's inquiries?
Chair Lennox.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Under Mayor and Councillors Forum, I just wanted to make mention that June is Pride Month, and that PA Pride is ongoing, and that anyone who's interested, there are some great Pride events being hosted in our community. and you can take a look at their Facebook page or website. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. And I'd like to congratulate Craig and Tara Lennox-Epp on their new baby boy, Rip, and welcome. Also, I'd like to mention that I am fully vaccinated and very proud of it, and a great big relief came over me when I got my second injection. So I'm encouraging all of the public to make sure that they get vaccinated. If not one, make sure, you know, try and get your second one.
Councillor Edwards.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Very quickly, I just want to make note of the kids' sports that have returned outdoors without masks, and how great it is to see smiling faces and the enjoyment of the sport on our facilities. It's so, so wonderful. It's just a relief to see that. So that's everything.
And I too would like to encourage, I think the majority of us are fully vaccinated, and I encourage it because we all want to hit July 11th. July 11th, if we're 70% vaccinated as a community, these masks and all restrictions will be gone. So I just encourage people to be part of the solution and not part of the problem, and get yourself vaccinated. Because the government is soon going to roll out, and so our employees, the rules around what happens after COVID. I do know one thing that is approved under occupational health. All employees will be required to be vaccinated unless it's a medical reason, and they'll have to prove that. And so even though the 11th is coming quickly, I ask people to stay tuned because there'll be still rules come in about what happens after the 11th. But the main thing on the 11th, once we hit the 70%, that masks and will be fully operational again. So that's worth looking forward. A couple other things I'd like to mention. I cut the ribbon this morning, as I mentioned earlier, at the new car wash behind the Petrocan. It's a different one. It's not a model that we do have in our city. It's called a tunnel car wash. It actually pulls you through. You just pull up, punch your code in, and you've got all different kinds of options. It's quite an event, and it employs 16 more employees in our community. So I'd like to thank Peter Ball for continuing to invest in our community, and that's also where they're going to do the office tower on that location. I too would like to talk about Brenda Kripp. First of all, what a remarkable thing, because if you would see the event, I wasn't there for the install of the flags, and I want to thank Councillor Brodnick for assisting on that, because you have to think, to get those flags on the ground, you had to have a screwdriver and punch a hole in and put those flags in. Councillor Miller, Councillor Kilmore, myself, and Councillor Brodnick joined her again on the weekend. It was easy to remove the flags because you just picked them and cleaned the dirt off them and put them away for next year. So again, congratulations for that, because we should never forget our veterans and the price they paid for our freedom. So thank you for everybody that's involved. Anyone else for Mayor's Forum? Knowing that, I'm going to move to number 14, inquiries. Councillor Miller.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Dion. So I'm inquiring about family passes for the Kinsman Water Park. I got a few phone calls over the weekend, and $6.50 per person is kind of pricey for families of 5-6 people to go. And I was just wondering if there's a family rate.
Okay, do you want to hear from the director now, if he has the answer? Director, can you bring on the Director of Community Services? He should have an answer, I would think. Oh, there you are. Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. To Councillor Miller's inquiry, so what we will be implementing is actually just a bit of a different version of a family rate. We're going to refer to it as a group rate. The definition of the group rate will be 2 adults and 3 children, which will provide a bundled admission amount that will, I think, be more cost effective. And we'll be doing so here, I believe it's within the next week or so is when the rate will be implemented as we move away from the booking system that we're currently operating under to more of a normal general admission operation. So I think that should help the local families here in accessing the park.
Do you know how much? No.
Not off the top, no.
Okay.
I certainly, if Councillor Miller submits it through the inquiry process, I certainly can confirm for her.
Thank you very much. Okay. Councillor Brodnick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two. One is dandelions. Dandelions are everywhere in the city, and I've had a lot of residents call me about that live across from parks or green spaces, and the dandelions, when they go to seed, then they blow the seed into their properties, and they were wondering if we could spray or do something to get rid of this massive amount of dandelions. And the second inquiry is the South Hill Cemetery and the state that it's in. And I understand it's because the irrigation system is no longer functioning there, and that's why, again, weeds and dandelions have kind of taken over. I understand that we can't water all our parks and boulevards, but the South Hill Cemetery, we should have an irrigation system. So I'm wondering if the Director of Public Works or the Director of Community Services knows when the irrigation system is going to be hooked up again for South Hill Cemetery, or if it's possible to have it hooked up, or do we need a new one? But we definitely need to get water in there to make the cemetery a lot more aesthetically pleasing and to get rid of all the weeds and dandelions. So
I'll ask the director. It's actually Director of Community Services that overlooks that.
Thank you.
And if you don't mind me adding a little to your inquiry, also while we got the director on, do we have a weed whacker up at the, I think I'm calling it the right name? Up at the cemetery, because one thing I did notice that we got quite a bit of long grass around some of our areas. And so those are two questions for you. One about the irrigation system, when it's going to be up and running, and if we're going to start knocking down some of this tall grass around the fixtures. Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. To the inquiries, so yes, certainly in drier seasons in which, short of a couple days late last week where we did get quite a bit of moisture, it's been quite a dry start. That really welcomes, dandelions and other noxious weeds to thrive. In areas where we do have irrigation, it certainly helps. The cemetery itself is a bit of a complex repair that's required. A lot of the original lines at that location run under graves, and in situations where it is difficult to access maybe some of the areas that are in need of repair. What we're doing right now is completing that review, and then we'll have a better sense of the timeline in which the repair and cost is to repair that properly. As far as some of the weed treatment and also some of the having a trimmer up in the area, we did have that conversation this morning with the parks manager. He is going to have some staff designated to that site in which we're trimming around the headstones and making sure some of that work is completed. So you should see an improvement to that here in the very near future.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other inquiries? Hearing none, I'm going to move to the next item, which is 15.1, Inquiry Responses, May 25th, 2021, City Council Meeting Inquiry Responses. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you. I'll move that the May 25th, 2021 City Council Meeting Inquiry Responses be received as information and filed.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Edwards.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I'll prompt the vote. Inquiries, there we go. It's now open. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Thank you. It's now closed. Accept. Carried. Notice of motions. Go ahead, Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one notice of motion. I would like to move that the city remove the no parking signs on the corner of Muzzy and Guy Drive, and that as suggested that the bylaw start enforcing the no parking at that corner. And I'd like that heard tonight if possible.
Okay, I'll bring it up
Thank you.
under leave. Thank you. Councillor Miller?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Dion. That the city look into installing a permanent public washroom in the downtown area.
Thank you. And I also have one that I want to be heard tonight, and I'll read it, it's quite lengthy. That the commercial properties who have received a 30% or more increase to their property taxes in 2020 to 2021 be required the following. A, to pay the equal amount of the 2020 property taxes by the notice deadline June 30th, 2021. B, to pay the remainder of the amount, which is the increase, of your property taxes in 2021, balanced by the deadline of November 30th, 2021, without incurring penalties, interest, levy for that date. That residential properties who have received a $900 or more increase to the property for taxes from 2020 to 2021 be required to pay the equalized amount of 2021 taxes by the notice date June 30th, 2021, and B, that the remaining amount of their 2021 property tax balance be a deadline of June 30th, 2021 without incurring penalties on the 2021 levy to date. Number 3, that any properties that are participating in the city's TIP program or financial institutes is making tax payments on their behalf are exempt from this 2021 property tax payment plan. Number 4, that any outstanding balances on the property tax notice prior to 2021 will be continued to be subject to penalties in accordance to the city's property tax incentive and penalty bylaw. Thank you. Anyone else with the notice of motions? Hearing none, I'll move the motions. I will start with 17.1, notice of motion, Councillor Miller, mobile water filling station purchase. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. That the purchase of a mobile water filling station be included in 22 budget deliberations for consideration. My reason for bringing this
forward. Can I just get you a seconder?
Okay.
Yeah. Councillor Head.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. The reason I bring this forward is a couple of reasons, actually. So during our construction season, sometimes we develop some issues on streets that are under construction, and they need a supply of water, and I think this would be a good benefit for the residents and for the city to help the residents out. And also for community events, when we have, you know, big community events, I'm hoping they're coming, because I'm really excited for them. We can have these put out in where the event is, and there'll be a great water supply for residents and people at the functions to use.
Thank you. Councillor Head.
Thank you. I just want to add to Councillor Miller's comments. I do support this motion, and I think going a little bit further, you know, because some of these water, when we are digging up some of our infrastructure, it does create some delays when providing drinking water over ground. And so this could kind of address that issue, and possibly even, like as Councillor Miller has mentioned, to some of our events as well. So it could be a great asset within our fleet.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to prompt the vote. No? Oh, hang on. Delayed pushing the button. Councillor Zierakowski.
So I like the idea. It identifies a problem. When the work's getting done on the street, sometimes we shut off the water, the city shuts off the water to the residents, and the residents don't have access to water. So let's ensure that they have clean drinking water on site. Is this the only solution by purchasing a mobile water filling truck? or are there other solutions out there to provide safe, clean drinking water to the residents? If it's this report will consider all options and then bring it to us for consideration, I'd be in favor of the motion. But if this is just a single purpose to go buy a truck, I think we need to consider more broad.
It's actually a trailer. They're trailers are what they are. And you pull them to the site, they're not a truck. They're a trailer that you fill.
Okay. Okay.
That's
good.
why she said filling station.
Yeah.
It's a mobile trailer that you fill with water and then you unhook it and you leave it on the site.
So this will be an expansion of the duties of Public Works, or is there another option out there that's available to ensure this happens?
Yeah, I think they'll look at both.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Head?
Thanks again, Your Worship. Just a follow-up question. I agree. I mean, it's one thing to provide safe drinking water, but it's also, the need of the residents is also to include water for their fixtures, I'll say, within their home. So it'll have to address both needs, I think, as well. So good luck to administration.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll prompt the question. Mobile filling station, there we go, ready for the vote. The vote's now open. Councillor Zepp?
Yes.
Thank you, passed unanimously. Thank you. I'll accept the vote, carried. Okay, I'll go to 17.2, motion from Councillor Miller, community cleanups. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. That the sanitation department, along with the communications department, assume the cost of the community cleanups within the departmental budgets, that the administration review and bring forward a report to host 4 community cleanups located within the city, 1 in each of the 4 corners of the city. So why I bring this...
Oh, just a seconder.
Oh, right, sorry.
Councillor Head.
Thank you. I'll second this motion as well.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Miller.
Thank you. So why I bring this forward today is the companies taking, doing the community cleanups for the last 11 years have donated their bins and manpower and everything to get everything to the landfill, which I am so grateful for. And it's been a real take-up by the community. And I would just like to keep it going. It's to ensure that we have a community that's cleaning up and making our city absolutely beautiful like it is. And with the help of the city taking on responsibility in all 4 corners of our city, where 2 councillors can get together and do 1 location on each 4 corners of our city. And yeah, so that's my thought on this one.
Thank you. Councillor Zurikowski.
Thank you, Worship. I'm in favor of having this conversation. It's a conversation we've never had. It's been sort of outside of this room, ad hoc, off the cuff. This seems to be missing a step here. I'd like to have some information. I'd like to have that conversation if we believe it's a priority. And by the way, what's the cost? How are we making a decision here without knowing the cost? So I'd like to have this conversation. I'd like to have a report come back to us so we can explore opportunities. I think Councillor Miller has some great ideas on that, but I don't see us making a decision on this without having information to make an informed, have an informed discussion and make a decision.
Thank you. Councillor Miller.
Yes, the report is going to come forward from the communications department. That administration bring forward a report to us. And as well, I'd like to add that in Edmonton, they do 11 community cleanups in their city throughout the fall and winter, or fall and summer, spring.
Okay, my question is though, everyone's questioning, there's nowhere in here where you says, you know, a report to be talked about at budget. It just says that sanitation problem along with community directive, assume the cost. And that's what councilor's asking for is what is that cost before they vote? So is there somewhere in there that you could add that they bring back a report for budget? Just, I'll come back to you. I'll go to the rest of the speakers. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you. And I think point 2 up there could solve that really quick. And instead of say report to host for community cleanups, just a report to explore the costs associated with 4 community cleanups. If we just change those words so that we have a better understanding of how much it is, I think this is the way to go. Is having our sanitation, our communications department lead it, and in the 8 wards, and as you said, having 2 wards share like one central location where garbage would be brought. I think it's a good idea, Councillor Miller, and I think if we just change those words slightly there, that will bring back that report that Councillor Zurkowski is asking for, and I think it would make us all more comfortable to support that motion.
Councillor Miller.
Yes, I will make that change. Thank you.
Okay, did you get one?
Explore the costs associated with hosting for community cleanup locations.
And get rid of number 1. Make just one recommendation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, perfect. Okay, you're good with that, Councillor Head? Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll prompt the vote. Community cleanup. Votes now open. Councillor Zapp?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now accepted. Okay, now I'll move on to Councillor Brodnick's request to ask for leave to hear his motion. Okay, Councillor Brodnick. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that leave be granted to hear the no parking signs motion tonight.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Kilmer.
I'll second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, discussion? We'll prompt the vote.
Are you asking for discussion?
No, we get, that's after, right, Madam Clerk? Yeah. That's after. No, but I have a spare spot that I can put it in. Does it matter? Or? Oh, okay. I can't put it in one of my ones I jumped over. Okay, just stand by while we add this one. It's up. Okay, the vote is now open. Councillor Zapp?
Yes.
Thank you. The vote's now closed, and I've accepted it, carried. Okay, I'll pass the chair to Oh, now it's the motion, sorry. Yep. Okay, you're up, Councillor Brodnick.
Okay, I move that the no parking signs be removed at the corner of Muzzy and Guy Drive, and that bylaw enforce the no parking zone at that location.
No parking. But there is going to be no parking zone because the parking signs are coming down. You threw me off on that one. Just, why don't you just ask to remove the parking signs? Oh, sorry. Seconder, Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Brodnick.
Okay, so the motion comes out of the recommendation of the response that I got when I inquired about why these signs were placed there. And the Director of Public Works responded and said that we can turn it over to bylaw to enforce if there becomes a problem at that corner of people parking too close to the corner. On the one side of the street, there's absolutely no problem. The resident at the corner of Muzzy and Guy does not park anywhere near the corner. So there should have never been a sign placed there to begin with. It never happens. On the other side of the street, it happens on occasion, usually like long weekend where, you know, it's a family gathering of Thanksgiving. Somebody parks maybe a little bit too close to the corner. We don't need bylaws or we don't need to have signs up when something like that happens an odd time. If people are still going to park there, bylaw then can come by and ticket them. That's the whole point of this, is instead of having these signs up there, which make no sense, have bylaw enforce if somebody does park there and it does become a problem.
Thank you. Councillor Ziarkowski.
So the problem here for me is we have a motion on the table that we haven't talked about, we don't have any information on, other than the answer in the inquiry process. So to me, having dealt with bylaw putting signs up before, I'd like to hear from them. I'd like to hear from Public Works and have that decision. And if we move in this direction, then I'm good, that's fine. But to me, let's do it right. Let's get all the information in front of us, because you know what bylaw is going to tell you? They won't enforce it unless there's signs up. They won't enforce it. That's what they're going to tell you. So let's hear from them. What is the problem there? I don't know. I don't have any information on that. Are they parking within 3 meters? Are they parking away from 3 meters? What's the problem? It just seems to me a bit of a overreach from a problem, from a complaint. They must have been up there for some reason. Somebody must have complained. So let's have both sides of the discussion and then make a decision.
Okay. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually think that perhaps the sign shouldn't have been placed in the first place. All corners in the city of Prince Albert have a 3-meter rule.
15 feet, yeah.
And if we go on the idea that someone can ask to have it placed because the car happens to be there, so that in the winter it doesn't, people don't park there, we're going to have an awful lot of signs. And when we have an awful lot of signs, people don't pay attention to those signs. So I fully support this motion and do think that no parking signs at corners in our city need to be placed there. I can't even think of a time when it should be. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brodnick?
Yeah, and thank you, Councillor Kilmer, and that's the point. And in the report, or not the report, in the response, that's what it said. There was one complaint from the condo complex. And so all of a sudden we're putting up signs just on the north corner, not the south corner, but just the north corner of that intersection. And it took a long time, more than a year, to get no parking signs in the crosswalk just down the road. In fact, the signs went up, the no parking signs went up on that corner before the signs went up in the crosswalk. And that's where no parking signs belong, in crosswalks. School crosswalks, park crosswalks, all those kinds of things that we were talking about, where we're going to have traffic calming devices. That's where we need to put these no parking signs so that people can cross on those areas safely. It makes, as Councillor Kilmer said, it makes no sense. Otherwise, we need to put signs on every single corner in the city. If that's what we should do then, if we want to have no parking signs on that corner.
Well, and to follow up, I'm going to support your motion because my follow up is: do we not have a policy? One person complains, and we take action. I find that kind of surprising. So I'll save that question for the department after, because boy, if that happened, boy, one person could come around and cost us lots of money to put signs up because they could complain almost on every corner. Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, I'm going to prompt the question. Is it in here? You what? No, not yet? Okay, I'll stay out of there too. You tell me to. You ready? Okay, I'm opening the vote. Councillor Zapp?
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. You. I'll accept the vote and I'll close it. And I'll pass the chair to you, Councillor Miller. So if you want to put your light on, I'll charge it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. Your motion for the 2021 property tax assessment impact?
Yes, I would ask for leave for this motion to be heard tonight.
Okay. You can prompt the vote.
Nope, seconder.
Oh, a seconder, yes, sorry. I keep forgetting about that tonight. Anybody gonna second?
I'll second it.
Councillor Cody? Okay. Councillor Zerikowski?
This includes commercial as well as residential?
Both, yes.
Okay, Mayor Dion?
Okay, I move. Oh, it's ready, so we have to vote. For granting leave.
Oh, right.
It's in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll do it for you, Councillor Miller.
Okay.
I just figured it out. Okay, the voting's now open.
Councillor Zepp?
Councillor Zapp? Councillor Zapp? What do we need, just a majority?
I think I lost her.
Need 2/3, right?
Councillor Lennox Up, are you there?
I can hear you now, but you were frozen.
Okay, we're voting on leave for the tax deferral.
Yes.
Thank you. Passed unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Dion? Oh. Okay, Mayor Dion?
Okay, I move that the commercial property tax, who have an increase of 30% or more, increase their property taxes from 2020 to 2021 as required to A, pay the equalization amount of the 2020 taxes by the tax notice deadline of June 30th, 2021. B, pay the remainder of the amount, which is the increase, of their 2021 tax balance by the deadline November 30th, 2021, without incurring penalties or interest on the 2021 levy to that date. Number 2, that residential properties who have received a $900 or more increase to their property taxes from 2020 to 2021 are required, A, to pay the equalized amount of the 2020 property tax by the deadline June 30th of 2021, and B, that pay the remainder amount of their 2021 tax balance by the deadline June 30th, 2021. Oh, sorry, November 30th, 2021, without incurring penalties or interest, because it just says penalties or interest on the 2021 levy at that date. Number 3, that any properties that are participating in the city's TIP program or financial institute and are making payments on their behalf are exempt from the 2021 property tax payment plan. Number 4, that any outstanding balances on the property tax notice prior to 2021 will continue to be subject to penalties in accordance to the city's property tax incentive and penalty bylaw. That's my motion.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. Is there any discussion? Oh, a seconder. Thank you. Sorry.
Oop.
I'll second it. I also have.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. You can go ahead.
Mic off.
Nope, go ahead. It's armed.
Thank you, Your Worship. I support the motion. It makes sense to defer for some that need, but it's not the solution. It helps, but it's not the solution. I know it was a difficult process and a difficult year for reassessments, and there needed to be some calculations that were very confusing, difficult for the taxation department, for us, and there needed to be some formulas calculated. And to me, we didn't do it right. I think that there is a portion of the population that got hit hard. Some commercial properties got hit hard. Some residents got smoked on taxation. And there needed to be some better solutions. What those are, I don't have those answers. But I know that some of the increases are unacceptable. And it pains me that we passed these tax notices out. And I feel pain for some of these residents and a lot of the commercial businesses. And I get it, we're not the only city in this. Lots of cities are in this same situation, but I still believe there's a solution somewhere. I don't have that, but I hope that administration can bring forward some suggestions and some answers. Because some of these increases just can't happen, and they shouldn't have happened. And I'll support this, because we do need to give people the time, but I hope that we together can find some solutions to this problem.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Councillor Head.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, I mean, on point number 3, Sherry, you just want to clarify the exceptions to this motion. You said the TIPS program. Sorry, I didn't catch. I was trying to write it down. Financial institution making tax payments on their behalf. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, they do them monthly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nope.
Prompt the vote.
Prompt the vote, please. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Okay, the vote's open. Councillor Zepp voted yes. Passed unanimously. Thank you. Close it. I'll accept it.
I'll pass it back to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, and we have no public forum. Councillor Kilmer.
I move to adjourn.
Seconder.
Second, Mayor Dion.
Thank you. Prompt the vote. Which I can be pretty quick at. Councillor Zepp.
Yes.
Missing 2 votes. One vote. Got it all. Thank you. We're adjourned. Good meeting.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Take care.